He was a singer, songwriter, comedian and presenter and known and loved across the West Country. He even had a hit record in the charts.
Well, now the story of Fred Wedlock's life and career is being told in a new biography. In a moment we'll be talking to its author, but first a reminder of the song that made him famous across the country.
Look in a mirror in the light of day. Swear you dyed it when your hair turns grey. When you zip up your Wranglers and your belly's in the way, you're the oldest swinger in town. Here you come and there you go, wide wheel spots and a stereo, but the engine's clapped and the driver also is the oldest swinger in town.
I feel like the oldest swinger. I remember watching that on Top of the Pops back in 1981.
I can't say I do.
No.
But I'm happy to say that with us is the biographer, John Hudson. Now, Fred had a very, very varied career. How on earth did you start when you thought about writing the book?
I think I started with Bristol in the West Country because he was born, as you know, he was born in a pub in Redcliffe in Bristol. He went to school here, he was brought up here, and of course, from an early age he was singing. He used to reckon that he used to sing to the sailors in his dockside pub. He used to embellish things, I think, a bit, Fred, you know, but he probably did a little bit, but he realised that he was a good singer. He became head chorister at St Mary Redcliffe Church, and because of illness he had to train his voice a bit, so he had a really good voice. And it was at a time in the early 60s, come the early 60s, when folk music was big. It was really big. It was bigger than anyone could imagine it being if they weren't around at the time. And that was his thing. He was a folk singer.
I mean, he was known on the local circuit very much. When did he get his first big break?
I suppose the big break wasn't long before Oldest Swinger in Town, the record. There was a little bit of television work which went network. He did a thing with Adge Cutler called the Great Western Musical Thunderbox, which I think was produced in these studios in another age. But that was a kind of lunchtime show, and it wasn't until that breakthrough record in 81 that he became very well known and was appearing with Legs and Co on Top of the Pops and all the rest of it, and Tiswas, getting flanned on Tiswas.
Now, what surprised me from the book is he didn't actually write Oldest Swinger. I always thought he did. No,
he did a lot towards it, but it was written by an old Geordie folk singer called Ed Pickford, and Ed was very insistent that it was his song. There were debates between Fred's manager and Ed's people about who did what, and
presumably who got the money.
Who got the money, yes. I mean, Fred did very well anyway with the money, but Ed, who needed a break at the time, I'm glad that he got some money out of it as well.
And of course, Fred died 3 years ago, and his funeral was very well attended here in Bristol, wasn't it? It just probably showed how much he was loved.
How much, and what a vast range of people he touched in his life as well, from television, of course. He was in that wonderful play at the dockside, up the feeder down the mouth, and where there was the steamship turning in the harbour. Remember that? When he touched so many people in so many ways, and his audiences were so varied as well. He was one of those people who could, you know, do the Dustman's Ball one day and the Lord Mayor's show the next.
Fascinating. That's all in the book as well, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about it.
Thank you.